It is 5:01. Call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Okay, Commissioner Allen Sug is absent. Commissioner Clucci,
Present.
Commissioner Grace is absent. Commissioner Lozey,
Here.
and Commissioner Salona.
Here. Next up on the agenda is minutes of the previous meeting. Anyone had a chance to look at them? I'll make a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Project updates, Dan?
All right, so the wastewater treatment plant updates in your package. The invoice for January was $1.3 million. We're somehow coming to the conclusion of this contract, which is great news. And it's even better news that we haven't incurred any invoices from the state yet for the actual cost of the project, but that is coming. That'll be the bad news when it starts to come. But right now, we haven't felt the pain of it. The invoice of history, you got about 3 years plus in your package as well. The application for payment for this month, the copy didn't come out that great, but you can see we're 92% complete. I think we got $3 to $5 million worth of work to go. Now, the progress meeting for March 4th is in your package. The pump stations, we had a little issue with National Grid on the Washington Street pump station. I think that's been rectified for the most part. And we had an issue with Comcast on the Hollis Road pump station, but that's been rectified as well. And then the major components at the treatment plant, the sludge thickeners, the locks, the primary scum pumps, and the grit screenings are proceeding. And then the other 5 pump stations are on schedule and doing well, the smaller pump stations. Change orders look like for the $75 million deal, we're gonna be originally like right around less than 1%. We think we'll be at, but I think Anthony's working to try to get some of the. We do have a credit on the Sanderson Avenue pump station of about $190,000 in the CDM invoices, who's our consultant for the project, which is also under this loan. Looks like it's gonna come under, so we might be $200,000 or $300,000 on 75 million. That's good stuff. That's less than a third of 1%.
Can you remind me for the treatment plant, what's the date that they're expecting it to be done?
I think it probably already happened, but over the next 6 months.
Oh, no, okay, got it.
And then the last item, which is a little troubling, not really for the commission, but for the contractor. The money comes from the SRF fund, the Clean Water Trust, and we submit the invoices. So the invoice number 28 from November of 24, we have yet to receive reimbursement. So consequently, the contractor from the design build team hasn't received payments either. So that's from this November and December. I reached out to Greg Devine, who's like the head of the Clean Water Trust, but we hadn't had any success so far. It's I think it's truly unfair that they have to go since November without getting the paycheck. I mean, it's crazy, but we're doing the best to get it. And then requests 29 and 30 are also in the books, but those aren't so far along. But the November and December payment, it's unfortunate, but we're trying to get them their money. But because it's millions of dollars every month, we don't have that, so it's just a pass through.
Yep.
And if if the girl left the DEP who processed the invoices, they have to get a new girl, or else consequently someone suffers, and that's where we are now. The next one is just a summary of the financials with the allowances and the change orders. We talked an overview on that, and next week is the 3-week look ahead. But things are going well. Again, we haven't felt the pain of any debt service on this. It will be coming, but we're about 92% done and things are going well.
Oh, good.
I got a question. Forgive my ignorance. What about the state? The state's gonna bill us for what?
This is through a 2% loan we got through the state, so
Okay.
this isn't ARPA money that was free. We go through the SRF program. We explain how we're spending it every month, and then at the end of the day, the bank's gonna knock on the door and say, I want my money back. And then we have a 30-year payment plan, and we start paying it back.
Okay, thank
It's
you.
likely to be broken into 2 phases. It'll probably be a 37.5 and a 37.5 loan for the 75 mil. And the first one will be sooner, and then we'll have a 30-year schedule that we'll have to pay, $400,000, $500,000 a year, whatever the number is, for the next 30 years. And then we'll have a second loan for the other 37.5, and we'll have to pay that as well. So we've done a lot of work. If we went to the bank or private funding, we would have already borrowed the money. We've been paying it back for the last 4 years, but we didn't do that. So that's one of the benefits. Unfortunate, that is the payment. They don't really process the payments for the design build team as well as, should be expected. So that's all I have.
Okay. Any questions? All right. Treatment plant.
Yep, Mr. Chairman, the Water and Sewer Commission is in compliance with all state and federal drinking water regulations. The water supply capacity as of yesterday was 66%, and the average for this time of year is 81%. Right now, we're moving water from both the Ipswich River and the Saugus River, about 30 million gallons a day, and we're making good ground. So we're still 15% below where we should be though, but we actually hit the threshold for what we would consider normal conditions, like 65%. And all 10 positions are currently filled at the water treatment plant. And that's my report.
Okay, thanks. Any more questions for Rick? Nope. CSO updates? Oh, hi, Anthony, sorry. Yep.
Hi, Anthony.
So as the board's aware, the pump station is completed. We are still waiting for National Grid to do the electrical hookup to it. So we do have the transformer. Methuen did get word from National Grid that they should be done by the 20th of this month. So we're hoping, trying to be optimistic that that gets done. Once that's done, Methuen's electrical sub will do the hookup to it, and then we'll start the testing of the pump station. We're still probably about 2 months away before the station will be up and running. So that's the update for phase 3 of the pump station. The pipe work, phase 4 and 5, Gioso is installing 72-inch pipe down Bennett Street. That work's moving along, as well as it can be. That National Grid still hasn't de-energized the power line that they need to work under. It's the first 225 feet of the 72-inch pipe, but they've been installing the other pipe, and they've got about 350 of the 1,000 feet installed right now. They've also did some, they brought in situ form to line the western interceptor, the brick western interceptor. They did about 500 feet of that. That work is complete, and their other crew has been doing some other pipe work throughout the system. But we're still, the 72-inch pipe, once that gets completed, that's the last phase of the work. It's about 50% completed monetarily with how much we've spent, but the project is more than 80% complete because this pipe is, a lot of the money is in the 72-inch pipe, which is the last installation. So that's the update.
Thank you. Any questions?
National Grid's been a problem, huh?
Yeah,
All over the place.
they're tough.
Jeez.
Kings Beach?
So you have the update in your package again. We're proceeding with our source elimination. Eric's here to speak on that. And there's a meeting relative to the UV treatment process at City Hall a week from tomorrow. And I have an agenda and drawings and advertisements as well. Eric, well, you want to further discuss what we've been doing and how we're
Yep.
proceeding?
So we made the transition to Saturday work to try and get the final 3 miles. We finally
He's
been
here.
successful in getting these details for the 3 of the last 4 Saturdays. So we got to get this Saturday. We're going to try and do some more root removal and protruding taps for preventing inspection. So it's been going about around 600 square feet of heavy cleaning per Saturday.
Okay.
So we're going to just keep plugging along at that pace, working with the police department just to figure out. They have given us some feedback. A couple of those streets we want to do, we're going to probably need a 3rd detail officer just in order to close a lane or go to one-way intermittent traffic. But that at least we're getting progress after kind of being a standstill for a while. And then, like Dan said, next week we have the public info session, which is principally about the UV pilot that's upcoming, but we are going to be there to speak about the IDD program as well.
Great, any questions for Eric?
Nope.
Okay, thank you. Next up on the agenda, the electricity savings.
So this was just a feel-good story.
Yeah, that was-
560.
We entered into a contract with Constellation through Freedom Energy back in '22 and expires in October of '27. Our rate strictly for supply is 9 cents a kilowatt hour. The weighted utility rate is around, for '24 was around 13, and the January '25 rate was 20 cents. So we're paying 0.097, which is close to 10 cents, and the January rate is really 20 cents. So we're paying half of what we could or could be paying. So that's a good story. So it resulted in a $561,000 savings in '24, and because '23 had the National Grid had the highest rates, he told me ever at like 37 cents a kilowatt hour, we saved the other 1.4 million in '23 and 561,000 in '24. And again, January, the rate for January was 20 cents, so we're half of that. So it's sort of a good story, but we don't have this money to spend, so don't get ideas.
No cookout, no cookouts?
I did the same thing at home. I switched from National Grid to Constellation. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
How much I saved. Gotta try it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Coco?
Aye.
Next up is where you came for the best part. It's about the audit. So, yes.
Thank you.
So this will be Ryan and Chris, right, Ryan?
Absolutely. Chris Pelham's here from Witham. They've done our audit now for 7+ years. And this is, the audit finally got finished in February. And then Chris always comes and gives a little presentation on the audit and does his due diligence that way. So without further ado.
Yep, thanks, Ryan. I'm Chris Pelham. I'm a partner with them. You see me here every year to go through information that's required by our standards to disclose to you, to bring to your attention, to kind of summarize the audit so you have an idea of how the audit went. If there's anything that needs to be brought to your attention or anything that we deem worthy to be brought up, I bring it up as part of this presentation. So the first page is we discuss our responsibility. We're responsible to perform the audit under government auditing standards and generally accepted auditing standards. We do this, by doing this, we do issue 2 reports. One is on the financial statements and one is on internal controls. The report on financial statements, what we do is we perform everything to obtain reasonable but not absolute assurance that statements are materially free of misstatement. But that means we do everything on a test basis. For that report, we issued an unmodified opinion, which is a clean opinion. That's the opinion you want on your financial statements. For internal controls, we assess controls, we look at controls, we test controls, we beat up controls pretty well. If there's anything we find during those processes, we bring them to your attention in this report. We do have one material weakness that we discussed in this report. It's a material weakness we've had for probably 4 years now, and it relates to the software crash of the general ledger system. Ryan's been doing an admirable job of keeping track of it in Excel and doing the books through that. But Excel is subject to human error, so right off the bat, that would be considered something for this report. It does lead to us having some adjustments for the year and things like that. So, as I mentioned, this has been ongoing for quite a few years, and what Ryan does is unbelievable with that Excel. But it is something that is a control. We consider it a control deficiency. We have to bring it up in this report, and hopefully that'll be gone this year.
We'll be gone this year.
Yes, that's the.
So quick question on that. So the findings, your findings 2024-01.
Yes.
You talk about the accounting software system and the crash.
Yeah.
But the conclusion is the Munis is gonna save the day, so we're gonna be good. So that's a great story, right?
Yeah, hopefully, yeah.
But the 23 report, finding 2301, you don't say that.
But we didn't have Munis at that time.
We didn't have.
Oh, so the timing of it just, we didn't say in 23, oh, okay.
It wasn't up and running.
So
yet.
we went live with Munis when they were actually doing the audit for the previous fiscal year. So they were actually testing out of the Munis system. So
Right.
in FY '23, it was still in development.
Right.
But now we're actually using it now. So FY '25,
Right, I get you, but I was just thinking of 23 was it something down the bottom said Munis is gonna save the day.
Yeah.
It would be a better look. I know it wasn't in, and we didn't have it at that time.
Yep.
All right, all
they
good, thank
didn't
you.
have enough faith yet.
Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah. The next page, we discussed that, was what I'm doing here, that we're required to bring anything to your attention that we deem necessary. And then also, you do have required supplementary information. We do limited procedures on that. We don't do full audits on that. And that's information provided to us by the city of Lynn and the actuary for the OPEB. The next page discusses independence. We are independent. We're required to be independent as part of the audit. But we do assist Ryan in certain functions. What those include are we prepare the financial statements and we help post entries related to the pension and OPEB. But in order for us to be independent, somebody from the commission has to review our work and sign off on our work, which Ryan does. The next page, page 5, discusses management responsibility. There was one new GASB put into effect this year, but it did not affect the commission. It related to misstatements of prior financial statements, which we didn't have. Other than that, there was no other significant policies changes. Also, as part of any audit, there has to be some assumptions and estimates because you can't know everything at any time. Key ones related to the commission are the allowance for doubtful accounts, the unbilled water, depreciable and useful lives of fixed assets, your pension and OPEB liabilities, and your GASB 62, which is your regulatory adjustments. The next page, page 6, we discuss significant transactions that happened during FY24. Your bands were converted to general revenue bonds for about $3.2 million. And additionally, one of the Mass Clean Water Trust loans was converted from short-term to long-term because enough of the phases had completed. That relates to phases 2 and 3. There's no transactions entered in the year that lacked authoritative guidance, and all significant transactions were recognized in the financial statements in the proper period. Next page, there was no disagreements with management, no major issues discussed with management prior to retention, no difficulties encountered performing the audit, or any other audit things that we thought necessary to bring to your attention. There was an engagement letter at the beginning of the audit, and we received management representation at the end of the audit. Move to page 8. As I mentioned, we do have some journal entries that we posted. These are some of the larger ones. I'd like to bring attention that some of these are either the pension and OPEB, which I mentioned Ryan has it prepared as part of the audit, and then some of these are just reclassification between certain accounts. But what I did is I provided all the journal entries at the end of this so that you can see any ones that you had any questions on.
Can you just describe what OPEB?
It's other than pension employee benefits, it's your health insurance for your retired employees.
Got it.
And so, and then there was no uncorrected misstatement. So everything that we recommended, Ryan did post during the year. The last page that I'm required to bring to your attention is fraud. We're not engaged to find fraud, but if we do detect fraud as part of our audit procedures, we do bring it to your attention. We do not find any fraud that is part of our procedures. Additionally, with any audit, this is not just the commission, but any audit we work, there are 2 presumed significant risks. And those risks are misstatement of revenue recognition and management override of controls. So we have to do our audit to perform our procedures to mitigate those fraud risks. So that's anything I have to, I'm required to bring to your attention. I believe you had the statements to review. I don't know if there was any questions you had on the financial statements.
So when you go back to slide 8,
Yep.
just when you put the numbers down,
Yep.
like adjust unbilled water to schedule, like what does that mean?
So that's a schedule that Ryan prepares. That's for water billed that was used in like June or May or June, but it was not billed until after year end. So it's it's a receivable. So Ryan prepared the schedule to be adjusted to that schedule.
Do you want to talk about the accounting system or the payable system that's went live or gonna go live or?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so we, I inherited a very old GL system, a payable system. As Chris mentioned, it crashed a couple of years ago. So did some due diligence, contacted local towns, City of Lynn uses Munis, sat with the comptroller a couple times. So the commission decided to go in the direction of using Munis. We're smaller, it's a municipal software, does a whole bunch of different things. We're really only scratching the surface, but my goal was to get a robust system in place that would go through timely upgrades and things like that. So someday when I'm no longer here and retired, then whoever takes over, we'll be able to have a nice system that's gonna be able to be useful. That being said, a couple main things we need to do out of it, we need to pay our bills. And so that part on the control thing is already bearing fruit, because there's a whole workflow process and things like that. The second is my general ledger. So any of my journals that I post, any of my month-end work, and then more importantly, the end of fiscal year stuff. So every dollar that moves in the commission hits one of my general ledger accounts, so this system will be super helpful in doing that. We're currently having the staff train, everything's done remotely through Teams and things like that, so it's not like the old days, someone comes here for a few days and sits down and goes from station to station. So we're working through that, but there's light at the end of the tunnel. It was a little dark for a couple of years. What I had to do without having a general ledger system, it was just a lot more work, it was a lot more labor intensive, I had to be super detail oriented, which I should be anyway, it's part of my job. But having a robust system does most of that for you, type thing, and that's where we're at now. So we went live for July in calendar year 2024, which is fiscal year 25. So we're paying bills out of it, we're posting journals. I just don't know how to get at some of this data right now, so we're still doing some training with the staff. So FY25 will be completely in this Munis system, so I think it'll be easier. It's gonna be easier for my staff, it's gonna be easier for me, it's gonna be easier to communicate stuff to my staff, and then more importantly, when we do the FY25 audit, it's gonna be easier for the auditors to gain access to this information in a better format.
Did we pay for that system?
Yeah, so it comes to the tune of 48 grand a year.
Oh, a year?
Yeah.
It's good to know.
It was like a software plan, essentially. Yeah, you used to be able to own
Exactly,
something, but now you're, right,
And
subscription.
that could grow if we use different modules. Say someday we decided to do payroll out of it, things like that. It just comes at more of a cost.
You're pretty happy with that system, right?
Yeah. For what it's going to be able to do, it's going to save everybody time. It's going to be just more efficient. So we can spend time focusing on things that may require more immediate attention. So.
Okay.
So great job, you two, on the audit, really, did a lot of work and time and effort went into this. Great job, thank you both.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
How long a process is this, do the audit?
20 minutes.
Yeah, all right.
That's
yeah,
good. It's
yeah.
gonna be starting in a couple weeks.
So it's so with them, they come out twice. They do in the summertime, late July, early August. They'll start pulling samples, and we'll sort of start preparing. Then they'll come out in late September, early October, spend about a week with us, digging, testing, this, that, and the other thing. And then there's a series of back and forths that last as long as the audit stays open. Unfortunately, in today's climate, getting the retirement audit done for the city of Lynn delays us, because we're a major component. It's a big number for us on our statements. And the delays start at the state level, this PARAC report. So the city of Lynn's auditors need that report in order to do their report. So pre-COVID, we'd get this thing pulled off. Per my bond resolution, I'm supposed to have that done 120 days after the end of the fiscal year, which is October 29th. We ain't never gonna see
We don't see it, that report doesn't come through well.
we don't get the report. The city doesn't get, the city's auditors don't get that report from the state until somewhere in November, which throws everything into a tailspin. So there's a series of things I have to do with bond counsel to, to sort of, let them know that we're still working on things like that, but it's just the way it is.
And this isn't the only commission I work with that's just par for the course now. So that's why when it first happened with Ryan, I was like, I see this. This isn't unusual.
So the good news, it gives them more time to test, so they just keep testing the bejesus out of each other. So, kidding, well, I'm actually not kidding.
Good.
Yeah, I'm not kidding.
Mr. Chair, does the public can get access with their slide presentation?
I don't see why they can't.
Like, this is a good example to put on our website. Is that a possibility?
Is there a problem with that?
It's a good presentation.
Okay,
No.
What,
sure, we can do that.
okay.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question about current assets for the commission have gone up significantly? And is that due to new construction, the new things that we're building? Is that,
Well, a lot of so if you look at it, there's cash and there's certain buckets of cash where like it's money that was given to pay these the vendors.
Projects.
Yeah, the
expenses,
projects.
basically
Yeah. So
money
if
coming
you
in
look at it,
goes
there's
back.
some of it actually was held with Mass Water Trust that they finalized that loan, but you don't have that money. So that's not in your bank account. Some of that money that's held with other places. So that's a big piece of it. But that's the bulk of it is the money that's got to be used to pay.
Got it.
So if you look at your accounts payable, that also went up a lot. So that's the money that's got to be used to pay those vendors for that. So that's the big piece of that.
thanks. Does anyone have any other questions for the audit team?
Good job.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Coco, I know you're a couple minutes late. Do you have,
Yes.
we're gonna move into new business, but we can have, if you have questions, I don't know.
I have a question, but it can move to a new business. So
Okay.
it's not a problem, yeah.
Sorry.
But did you guys
What do you
talk
think?
about the March 18th town hall meeting?
Dan mentioned it and then
Yes.
handed out that little packet in front of you.
So Dan, who created this?
The mayor's office.
The mayor's office?
Yeah.
My gosh, it's a 1 hour town hall. There's, all of these people will talk for an hour. We're done with the Q&A. I will talk to him. I will discuss this with him. Because it looks to me more like a campaign event. All of this representatives talking and all. But we need to give weight with the public in the neighborhood, which is gonna be affected by this UV machine that's gonna be installed there. So, thank you. I just wanna know who drafted this flow program.
It's my understanding that the meeting may go beyond 6:30.
Then if that's the case, then it's good.
It may not be, I don't believe it's gonna be a hard stop.
Yeah, there's like 15
No,
speakers
there's quite
here.
a lot to go
Okay,
through,
all right.
so
Thank you.
that's my understanding.
Thank you.
But I hadn't seen this either.
I can discuss all the way to
Yeah,
to the new business. if
please,
that's
yeah,
possible.
I think right now, because we don't have to approve the audit's done.
No, we
so-
got it,
yeah.
we moved on.
Okay. All right, yeah,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My apology for being late. The traffic is just ridiculous. I was reading the new business and it can go straight. I was reading the minutes from your last meeting, which I wasn't here. But I can calendar this to the new business if it's possible. I would like to echo Commissioner Lozzi's observation about the UV light system, possibility of adapting it here for Lynn Water. And Mr. Marino said it's impossible because we have a lot of payment to pay, as what I was reading here. I guess the point would be is just to put that in our arsenal moving forward, just to dig some information, the possibility for Lynn Water to adapt it in the future. I'm not saying we are adapting it now. So I would like to bring it back to the new business to see if you guys can do some research about it and see if it's a possibility in the near future.
So just so I understand, the question that was posed by Commissioner Lozzi at the last meeting was, could the UV system be used at the wastewater treatment plant for treating our wastewater? And I think the answer I gave at the last meeting was that we currently are in a $74 million
Correct.
contract to redo the plant. We also have a 20-year contract with Veolia to run the plant, and that's being run by a different system which uses chlorine to, I treat the wastewater. So if we were able to go into a different direction, again, the state through the SRF financing has invested $74 million into us upgrading the plant. And
I totally, right.
it's a little different.
I totally understand
Yeah.
that. But what I'm trying to say is just dig some information
Sure.
for a possibility. I'm not saying we're implementing it, but at least we have something at our arsenal in the future to know what would be the possibilities or not. Who knows, we might pay that in next year and adopt something. But I just want us to know about this technology.
Sure.
Because people are talking about this a lot. Another new business, Mr. Chairman. There's signs everywhere in the city that still says, conserve water. Are we still conserving water?
Yes, well.
Or those signs should still stay there?
2 weeks ago, we were up like 25% rated below average. So just recently, with a big thaw and the rain that we had, we've been able to make ground. We're making ground now. We're up to 66%. So what we didn't want to do is check all the sites and just to put them right back up. As soon as it gets warm, people are going to start using water, and we had a 25 to 27% deficit. We weren't prepared to let the people use outdoor water, but now we are making a headway. Things are going really well. Hopefully the pattern will continue to be wet. The other factor into play is that beginning in April, we will be 2 years from our registration statements that we just received 2 years ago, and we will be required to implement water bans dependent on what the environmental secretary from the state declares for our region. So technically, we could be 80% full reservoirs, but if they feel we're still in a drought stage overall in this northeast region, we might be forced to enforce water bans.
So what you're saying, the signs should stay
Just for
where they're,
now,
okay.
as soon as I'm more comfortable, as soon as I
Yeah.
know we're past the hump, as you
Yeah.
say, we're getting there. We're still 15% below
Yeah,
this time of year average. And as soon as we're aware of what's gonna happen in April, then,
yeah.
right now, no one's using water anyway, so it's not
Right.
a big deal. But as soon as they are able to, hopefully we can let them.
Okay.
I'm just-
Because the counselors get all those
Oh, yeah,
phone
we've
calls
used
and
calls as well.
we just don't know how to respond to them.
Yeah.
I have no more questions, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, well.
Anyone else have anything else under new business? Hearing nothing, someone want to make a motion to adjourn?
To adjourn.
Second.
Again, all in favor? Aye. Thank you.
That's quick.
Yeah, well, I know.